that will be had between the 28th and the 27th and 28th of August this year. These two next days, that means today and tomorrow, CEC will be sitting to diagnose some of the challenges that it will be presenting before NEC. But we'll give you a history of what happened in 2015, especially when it is decided that the Secretary General will no longer be elected but appointed. That was one amendment that happened then. Then we went to 2020, where they came up with an amendment to start lining up, especially looking at the backdrop of 2015 when they had violence of ballot boxes being kicked. But this lineup, when we look at the primaries, it had the most chaotic scenes all over the country. When we take a hindsight view into this, what does this mean for CEC that is on the sword in crunch time to explain itself to the people? Let me get to the panel. On my immediate left, Dr. Sarah Birete, the Executive Director for the Center for Constitutional Governance, is with us this evening. Good evening, Doctor, and it's good to have you.
Thank you, Timothy. Good evening, fellow panelists and viewers. It's good to be back. And
how has your week been so far?
It's good. We are watching NRM, the ruling party in the country, as they decide their internal democracy leading to the general elections.
Interesting that you choose the word internal democracy. Let's get to that one in a short while. Next to him is making his maiden appearance here. He is an aspirant for the vice chairperson for Western Region for the National Resistance Movement. Kaguta Cedric Nzei is with us this evening. Good evening, sir, and it's good to have you.
Good evening, Timothy and viewers. I'm called Nomisha Cedric Nzei Kaguta, aspiring candidate for Vice Chairman Western Region, former chairman of
Chiruhera District.
Chiruhera District. Good evening once again.
Thank you very much. Old man of the clan, chief recently, I think last year, the Honorable Omara Paul, both the incumbent and the flag bearer for Otuke County. Good evening, sir, and it's good to have you.
Good evening, Timothy. Good evening, viewers. I'm happy to be back.
The yellow on this side is just too bright. Let me get to the next panelist. Honorable Flight Captain Dr. Mike Mukula, who is the Vice Chairman for Eastern Region, the incumbent, but also an aspirant for the same for SEC. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Timothy. I'm exceedingly humbled and profoundly honored to be on UBC, our national television. What a pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Lastly but not least, the Honorable Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, Minister in charge of ICT and National Governance, Member of Parliament representing the people of Kinkizi East, and still the incumbent and the flag bearer.
Yes, you're correct.
He is also the Vice Chairman, Western Region, incumbent and aspirant. Very long title. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you, Timothy? Good evening, fellow panelists. Good evening, viewers. I'm happy to be here, behind the headlines.
Thank you very much. Yes. You can be part of the show. Go to our YouTube channel, drop your comment there. Let us know what you think. Or text us or WhatsApp us on the number 0709 60 25 92. For all texts and WhatsApp, we'll be getting to them in a short while. Also go to our X handle. We'll be streaming on the Space Live. Let us know what you think of the discussion that is happening here. But two things have happened in the last few days. One, Uganda Cranes qualifying for the first time, getting to the quarterfinals, and we'll be playing Senegal. That has already been decided. But also yesterday and today, the traders have gone on strike. They have quite a number of things that they're talking about, especially talking about taxation, and they've gone further to say, you know, taxes in kilos, and also their goods being held between 3 and 6 months. The Prime Minister has had a meeting with the URA yesterday, tried to have a meeting with the traders today. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because 17 of them had been arrested. 15 have been given bail. 2 were still incarcerated. That's where we're going to start from, and I'll start with Doctor. Doctor, this matter of traders, and we'll skim over it quite ably as fast as we can. We have the doctors, I mean the traders, striking and paralyzing business and the economy. 65% of the income is collected from here. If they're struggling like this, why isn't this being resolved?
You know, Chikubo is the fulcrum of our money economy. It transacts in about 2 billion per day in terms of their trade.
Yes.
When they are on a sit-down strike, that's the money that we lose from the economy. I think it's important that the issues that they are raising are considered and resolved in an amicable way than causing losses of that magnitude to our economy. But what are the issues in the current strike? There are complaints about foreign investors who are hawkers in this country. They have been hawking goods to our offices. They've been hawking goods on the streets of Kampala. The other weekend, they phoned us, us who stay in the outskirts of Kampala Metropolitan. They have begun knocking on in the villages on people's doors, selling house utensils from all sorts of foreign countries, Europe, China, India. And I think when the traders say there should be a limit, what defines a foreign investor? I know that our Foreign Investment Act defines who a foreign investor is. So what we need to question as a country is, how do these people turn into street hawkers?
Okay, let me bring in Nzeire there. The complaints are abnormal and high taxes on goods, Chinese investors operating shops, that means they have left manufacturing, they're now retailers, trading in garments, which is now taxed in kilos, treatment by UNBS that is unfair, but also now their goods have been held between 3 and 6 months. As a person who is vying for CEC, is this something that concerns you, since 65% of the GDP is collected within Kampala? What do you hope to, how would you resolve this matter?
Viewers and Timothy, I believe in dialogue. I'm a person who believes in dialogue, a person who believes in Operation Harmony. So it's about to government sit down with traders and also bring those who are called investors and put proper guidelines. Who is supposed to be an investor, who is supposed to be a trader on the street, and who is supposed to be a hawker. So it's the role of government, but as ruling party, of course, the cardinal role number one is to provide political leadership. So if you have good leadership like the one we have now, I know soon they are going to resolve, they are going to harmonize. You and I will sit down with the traders will sit, of course, with the investors, and the government will provide a supervisory role.
And I know if this keeps going on, it will be a topic we discuss, but Honorable Mara, coming to you, you sit both on the budget and the national economy, but also looking at that you are a seasoned banker and an economist at that. When you look at this, especially in the season we're in of elections, does this concern you, and what concern should Ugandans have, especially that downtown has been closed down?
Thank you very much, Timothy. I think what is happening downtown has, in the main, a lot of political undertones. As a trader, if you want to be heard, you should wait at the moment when you know that there's electioneering. Your strike can force the hands of government to make some policy changes in your favor. But that said, they have, to a greater extent, some justifications to raise their concerns. As Dr. Saran said, the Uganda's investment laws are very clear. Foreigners are not supposed to engage in trading. That is not our law says. They are supposed to engage in value addition, in effect, manufacturing. And the laws gives the figure, I think, $100,000 US. You must be able to come with that and engage in value addition. You are not allowed to trade. I remember when the former Minister of Trade, Honorable Amelia Chambade, was still the minister. This matter came up. It was very hot in Lira. I was part of the team that helped to mediate. There were many Indians and Pakistanis in Lira City that are manufacturing, but they were also being targeted, which was wrong. But then you have ordinary traders who are there. So, but the minister then said, a moment you go now to repatriate these people, the fellow Ugandans, the black Ugandans would come and say, no, 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 that is my partner. That's my Indian or that's my Chinese. So it's a double whammy. I think the government needs to take responsibility and making sure that those who come to our country, they come legally and they come to add value, just not to lot around. You can't go to India and do something like that.
Very true.
So that is one. I think the other component is that we just need to look at our tax code and making sure that we don't overburden the same group of people with an overlayering tax. And we should have an opportunity to explain this to the traders, and then also at the same time broaden the tax base so that a multitude of Ugandans pay taxes other than paying the few. So as my brother here said, I think a more, how do I call it, a collegiate conversation with the traders would be the way through.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Captain Mike, you are a businessman, and I've read the book you gave me about, you know, your upbringing and especially how you started business. When you look at the complaints or the concerns of these traders, especially high taxes, the 35%, also the variation in our tax laws between the countries within Kenya, Tanzania, and also the variation in taxes there, do you see their plight as something that really is concerning, and how would you deal with it?
I think, first of all, let's look at the country at the broader level. At the macro level, the economy is stable in that the economy is like my brother Mara here will tell you. We have an economy which is growing at 6%. The inflation is below 5%. I think it's
3.4.
3.4%.
Yeah.
And the Uganda shilling has been stable at about 3,536 for a long time. It's one of the most stable economies, currencies, the Uganda shilling in the sub-Saharan region. And when you look at the other factors, the overall aggregate factor of the economy is stable. It is here at the micro level where there are challenges, where you have, for example, the traders, the macro level of the economy. You will see that government, the outstanding amounts owed to traders or businessmen is quite huge, what you call the domestic arrears. That domestic arrears, if it is, which has been passed in the deficit budget, I think it is somewhere, Omara would know better, some about 14 trillion. If it is paid back to the business people, then you'll be able to spur the economy, what you call the PPP, purchasing power parity. You'll find that the economy will be spurred, it will be stimulated, and you'll find that some of the challenges the businessmen have, like the cost of doing business, the rents are quite high. You'll also find that the taxes are high and complicated. Most of the businessmen are informal. They're in the informal sector. And you'll find that to adhere to the Uganda Revenue Authority regulations and taxes become very complex. And you need to have a computer, a laptop, you need to have the capacity to be able to make the returns to Uganda Revenue Authority. And you'll note that government equally in the East African region has the lowest tax to GDP ratio in terms of payments by the local people. I think it's
13%.
It's about 13%. It's the lowest in East and Central Africa.
Yeah.
What does that mean, therefore? Government has got an aggregate demand, which is quite huge in terms of taxes because of its commitments. Now, the ultimate position now is that that informality has brought in what you call some of the businessmen from India and China who have gone into the informal market. And when you look at the manufacturers, you'll find that some of the manufacturers are manufacturers, distributors, at the same time retailers. They complicate the internal trading system in the economy. This, among other things, are the challenges the businessmen are facing in the economy. So therefore, there is need to have dialogue between effective dialogue and tax education between the Uganda Revenue Authority, the taxpayer, and the informal sector, and there has got to be some sort of give and take in order to bring these together.
Honorable Minister, the President had a meeting with these traders sometime earlier on this year, seemed to be unresolved. The Prime Minister met CEC leaders and met URA leaders and said it is a policy issue that has to come to Cabinet. What should we expect from Cabinet to resolve this matter before this economy begins to bite all of us?
First of all, taxation is an age-old phenomenon that even the biblical times, if you read the Bible, they talk of Zacchaeus, who was a tax collector. So collection of taxes, government collecting taxes, is a phenomenon that has existed for long. And usually, people would not be comfortable paying taxes. And that's partly explains why our tax regime mainly looks at indirect taxes. I think there are a few areas where we pay direct taxes. Now, I think the issue is the channels of communication. The grievances being raised by the traders, yes, may be genuine, but the NRM government is a listening government, and they should be able to channel those grievances to the relevant departments of government. We have a whole Ministry of Trade. We have a whole Ministry of Finance, which supervises URA. We have Parliament with the relevant committees. So it should not reach a level where the business people have to go into that industrial action, that kind of strike. And I'm sure the government will be able to engage with the traders and find a solution. I think some of the challenges are those poor means of communication, maybe poor tax education services from URA, because I think our officers URA sometimes they are very mechanical in the way they implement
very academic
tax correction instead of engaging in the tax education. Like when the traders met the president last time on this digital system, I think even many of them were not understanding how it works. So we needed to invest more in educating the taxpayers on the importance of taxes and how this is done. Like my brother has said, our tax to GDP ratio has remained between 13–14%, yet our target is to raise it to 18%. So we have to pay taxes, but the whole system must have a human face. So we need to increase interaction with these traders and business people and be able to sensitize them, educate them. I'm sure they appreciate paying taxes, but if the taxes become a problem, then the government should be able to engage with them, and we shall definitely engage the business people, and that's why the Right Honourable Prime Minister is engaging them, and we shall find a solution. Because we have to coexist. The government has to collect the taxes, but also the business people have to survive in the business environment.
Thank you. And that is a matter that is still happening with traders, and hopefully it can be resolved, because the Prime Minister said Monday or during the course of next week, it would be coming up in Cabinet to deal with policy matters. But the question is, the dockets of the Ministry of Trade, what are they doing about this thing? And I think the biggest question every Ugandan has is, at what point do our taxes start to work for us? And also, when is tax? Basic principles, equitable, fair, but also progressive in its payment. Let's get to the gist of our discussion, which is the National Resistance Movement meetings and conferences that began today. Both the Honourable Minister and Captain Mike Mukula have been in CEC, which started today, and will continue tomorrow, which will have some proposals that are brought to NEC. Let's get into that discussion, but also go further to discuss this new portrait of the president that has protecting gains. What gains are these they're protecting if they're finishing to securing the future there? Let's get into it there. Honourable Minister, I look at the dates today and tomorrow to the 22nd, that is CEC, Central Executive Committee. Then we'll have the National Executive Committee also meeting on the 23rd. Accreditation, then we'll have the main elective national conference that will be happening between the 27th and the 28th. 27th will be next week on Wednesday. Both of you have been in CEC today.
Yes.
What is the outcome? I will start with you, Honorable Minister. Why should Ugandans anticipate for anything coming from there?
Thank you very much, Timo. Maybe before I go the outcome of today's meeting, I could, if, with your permission, rewind so that they take you back for people to understand what is CEC, why is it meeting. You recall that in 2020, we did not hold a delegates conference, neither are the other political parties because of COVID. But we held elections within the NRM party and elected 9 topmost officials of the party. The chairman of the party, the presidential flag bearer, the 2 national vice chairpersons, and the 6 regional vice chairpersons. I being chair for Western region, and I was elected for the first time, so I am serving the first term. And the rest of the party organs, the Minister of Justice brought an instrument in the Parliament that allowed the political parties to extend their lives. So over the years, we've been extending. But this time around, because COVID is down, we went into elections of party structures. And we began with branches. We had branch elections. A branch is a village. We went to parishes. We went to sub-county. We went to the district. And now we are left with the Central Executive Committee, CEC, which is the topmost organ, policy organ of the party. So you need to understand that elections have been taking place from the grassroots, coming down, producing the delegates, because from the village, then those vote at parish level, those from the parish, they vote at sub-county. From sub-county, they vote at the district. Now the delegates who constitute the national conference are now coming to hold the national delegates conference where members of CEC will be elected. But before the conference, it will be preceded by conferences of leagues, because under the NRM institutional framework, we have leagues, the league for the women, the youth, the veterans, persons with disability, the entrepreneurs, then the historicals, the elderly. All these structures also have leadership, and this leadership has been building up from the grassroots up to national. So we shall have conferences for these leagues. We shall have the National Executive Committee meeting. We shall have the National Delegates Conference. Now, there are a number of activities leading to that conference, and one of them is the Central Executive Committee, which has begun its 3-day meeting. We have begun today. We shall sit tomorrow. We shall also sit a day after tomorrow for 3 days. And mainly, we are handling vetting of the various candidates who have been nominated for various positions. Now, for today, we interacted with all those who have been nominated to contest for positions of chairperson for the various leagues, the women, the youth, like I have listed them. And basically, the Constitution does not explicitly provide for vetting of the chairpersons or leaders of the leagues. So we're just having an interaction. The proper vetting will be done for the other 9 positions I have said. The chairperson of the party, the national chairperson, the presidential flag bearer, the first national vice chairperson, the second national vice chairperson female, and the 6 regional national vice chairpersons. And that will start tomorrow. So today, mainly we received a communication from the chair, and it was chaired by the first national vice chairperson, Alhaji Moses Chigongo. The chairman was not around, but he will be joining tomorrow. We also received a report from the Secretary General highlighting the preparations for these upcoming conferences, and also a report from the Electoral Commission, which has been superintending over all these elections, because we have had structured elections from the village and also primaries for the parliamentary aspirants, for district chairperson aspirants, as well as the councillors at LC5, chairpersons of LC3, and the councillors at that level. So they gave us a report of the work that has been done, including the work of the tribunal, and we had a discussion around elections and also arrangements for the conference. So basically we received those two reports of the Secretary General and the Electoral Commission chairperson, which we discussed, as well as looking at the preparations for the conference and interacting with the various candidates who have offered themselves to chair the various leagues. So that's what happened today.
And I'm glad you received all those reports. From those reports, what are your remarks?
Well, if you don't limit me, I might talk up to midnight at the end of the show.
It's okay.
But the remarks,
yes, briefly.
Briefly, one, the Secretary General's report.
I'm looking really at the Electoral Commission.
Okay, the Electoral Commission, yes. He gave us the statistics of the leaders that have been elected from the village up to now the district level. And I think we have elected up to 2.5 million leaders of NRM, and also updated us on the flag bearers who have been elected for those various positions. And if you want, probably the issues that we discussed, you know, within NRM, when we went multi-party under the current constitution, the method of voting which we began with was the electoral college. Then we changed it to adult suffrage, secret ballot. Then now, beginning the last elections, we went lining up. So we reflected on the
different methods,
advantages, the disadvantages of lining up. And there are mixed feelings even when you interact with the delegates and membership of the party. There are those who think we should go back to secret ballot. There are those who think lining up is still good, but that's a debate we are still having within the party. Then we also reflected on the violence within these elections, which we condemn, and we came up with a number of measures which we are going to institute as a party to bring down these cases of violence that occurred in a number of parts of the country.
Okay.
Then
thank you, Honorable Minister.
And many others, as
well,
we shall be discussing.
We shall be discussing those.
Yes.
Captain Mike Mukula, you have been in CEC for more than 10 years. You have led the Eastern region. What do you attribute to your achievements, but also why should you go back?
I think first of all, you need to capture, as my brother, Honorable Barrio Munsi, has been able to elucidate, the critical elements of the national resistance movement. In order for you to conceptualize it and to understand what CEC is, you need to understand that CEC is the nerve center, is the strategic, it handles the strategic direction of the party, is the political compass of the party. And you have also get to know that the party, as it were, works as a collective, and it is anchored on 3 pillars of decision making: the Central Executive Committee, the National Executive Committee, and then the National Conference. And CEC really initiates what you call short-term, medium to long-term direction of the party, which is the governing body, is a governing party. So what am I telling you? And I want the viewers to conceptualize this, understand this clearly. The Central Executive Committee, for example, will articulate issues, for example, of governance, which are anchored on the 4 critical ideological pillars of the party. That is patriotism, Pan-Africanism, social economic transformation, and democracy. And in order to drive the direction of governance of the country forward, we normally develop what you call the manifesto. A manifesto is a social contract between the party and the people of Uganda. And we hand this manifesto to the governing body, and that is government. And that's why you find that we deal with the political, economic, social, and technological strategies in driving the country forward. And that's why you find that so far, you'll find that the party...
Captain, sorry,
yeah.
I really appreciate the breakdown for CEC and also the 4 pillars. What are your achievements, and why should you go back?
Our achievements are collective. It's not me as an individual.
The Eastern region looks at you.
I want you to look at it this way. When we talk about a party and a manifesto, it's a collective. Let me give you an example. When we look at the road infrastructure, we talk about developing a manifesto which will now be able to drive, for example, the infrastructure between the road between Kapchorwa and the border with Kenya on the other side. That's a 79-kilometer road, and the same thing deals with the electricity, for example, that axis. And you'd also look at the road infrastructure in the eastern, which was manifested in our work plan. But for me as an individual, in the last campaigns, you notice that we had a COVID period. And during COVID, the president only met a cluster of leaders of the party. We were now left with the duty to canvass and campaign for the party, for the president, for the flag bearers of NRM, for the district chairpersons, and so on and so forth. What did I do? We're able to get 97 members of parliament who were elected directly for NRM. Out of 141, 97 were NRM. That was the delivery. And you remember I employed the helicopter to go around all these areas at my own cost. 2, we got 25 independent NRM-leaning members of parliament in the east. 2, NUP, the other competitor, major competitor, got only 2. Onro Nambeshe in Budadiri, and the other one in Jinja. Jema got only 1, and that is Honorable Basalirwa in Bujiri. FDC got only 11. So put together, you can see that the national resistance movement, under my stewardship, performed extremely well. We are equal to the West, because you know Buganda were in trouble here with the NUP. We had also a few MPs who were from opposition, especially UPC in Lango and FDC in parts of Acholi, and so on and so forth. So in terms of performance, we performed extremely well next to the West, my colleague here. And I want to tell you that in terms of members of the leadership of the local level, we had a majority of chairpersons of the district, councillors, up to the lower level. That shows you that you have a robust party, dynamic and effective, and the stewardship was basically because of the leadership we had under Captain Mkula.
Captain, before I move to Honorable Mara, you give us the number 97, 25 members, 25 independents there. Busoga is the poorest region. Busia, that is a border district, is the past of its glory. Jinja cannot be compared to when it was here between the 70s. Really, what achievements have you had economically, except bring members of parliament into parliament?
Well, let's look at it this way, and I want you to conceptualize this very well. The land is a tool of production. And if you look at the Busoga sub-region, you will see that the subdivision of land and the high population growth, and if you look at the indices, all those indices you're looking at, the performance, the population growth, the ballooning population, the demographics show you that you have a high population growth, and comparatively, you have a young population. And when you look at it overall, the production in Busoga, where land is leased for production of sugar for 5 years, and the local person is left with no land really for production, that creates, and as you know, in economics, you have to deal with production and distribution. If you don't manage land as a tool of production, definitely you're going to have a reversal, and you're going to have indices which show you very clearly that factors of production are not present and properly anchored in Busoga. So one is sugarcane, what they call in Busoga ebikado.
Okay.
And then number two, you'll also see that fishing is a major factor. And recently you saw the president in Busoga dealing with the fishing community to see how we can be able to have a large youthful population and how we can convert them and give value to them. And that's why you find that in order to address this, government has been able to unveil factors of production, and by spurring the economy, by giving you PDM, Parish Development Model, EMIOGA, and all those factors to give money to the people so that you bring them to the money economy in order to reduce poverty in the midst of the people. The second component is the issue of youth unemployment. This is a factor which is not only limited to Uganda, but the sub-Saharan region. We have a high population growth, and I want you to note, for information, 80% of the population of Uganda is below the age of 30.
Giving you a very good workforce that you're not putting to use.
Yes, but you need to make sure that you retool that population. And once you retool that population, they become what you call the job creators rather than job seekers.
Okay. Honorable, let me come back to you. Honorable Mara, both as an economist, this period really puts the country in a very delicate situation, especially with the circulation of money that comes into play. The money that you have spent as members of parliament to become both candidates right now, but also you have been before the tribunal. When you look at this lining up that is going to happen between the 27th and the 28th, is it still a viable method to give us a free, credible, and quality of leaders that Ugandans desire?
Thank you very much, Timothy. I think Honorable Minister Biaromozi has given a very elaborate explanation on how the events are undertaken, how they tried ballot boxes, and then the 2020 they chose to line up behind the candidates. My personal view is that at the national level, at the conference level, or National Executive Committee, or the national conference where we elect now the leaders like CEC members, we are decent enough to vote. Because one of the downturn or the disadvantage in lining up is that a lot of money is being used in these campaigns. The candidates are continuously using money. And as a consequence, if you've taken somebody's money and then now the agents are everywhere and you actually have a choice of a candidate that you think actually would represent the party better than the one with the money, then basically you're forced to line up other than making a viable choice.
Or you might disappear and you don't vote.
Yeah?
If you have eaten from different candidates.
Yes, if you have eaten from both candidates, then you'll even try to run away. So,
or even not vote.
Or not even vote.
Yes.
Decline.
So one of the things that the president raised during the NRM caucus meeting at Entebbe recently was how the misuse of money, or actually how money has adulterated the party, because he actually said NRM is holy ground and those with the money should not come and mismanage it. So personally I would advocate that we should still continue with the secret ballots so that actually people can easily express their views without looking over their shoulders.
I've had the Right Honorable Justine Lumumba, especially in 2020 when she spoke, that the reason why you came from the secret ballots was the logistics, the expense of that. Does that justify, especially this lining up and how bad we saw it in the primaries?
If you're going to have 20,000 people in Kololo, how are you going to line up 20,000 people behind candidates? Are you going to have a snake kind of thing? How is it even possible to line up 20,000 people behind these candidates? So, but if you printed 20,000 ballot papers, we can all go and vote, and then the Electoral Commission would sit down and count. But to say people should line up, I don't see
lining up will be per district.
I don't.
In Kororo.
Will be per district.
Per district, yeah. Each district will gather in one place and then they vote.
So you have to vote 147 times. How many districts do we have in Uganda?
No.
146.
146.
Districts will assemble in different places within Kororo, and then you vote for Western, you vote
The
for
sub-regions,
Central, you Karamoja in one spot.
You can do sub-regions.
So, and I'm going to come to Nzere here. 291 candidates, and vetting is going to happen, which is almost going to happen with CEC. Is it really not a selection and not an election that is just going to be imposed on you at the national conference?
I think the entire, should I say this, the entire NRM party constitution needs to be revisited, in my view. Why? You see, the CEC members who would be reviewing and selecting who should stand, they themselves are candidates.
True.
So how do I protect my interest, and then I ensure maybe we disqualify him so that he doesn't stand? I don't know how they're going to do it. How you would vet CEC candidates who are coming to compete with you. In other parties, for example, like CCM or even Communist Party of China, the people who sit at Central Executive Committee, they have no interest, electoral interest, with the ones that they are selecting. I remember when they were selecting presidential candidates where President, the late Magufuli won. Kikwete was the chairman, he sat at this side. And he was seated with the eminent elders. And I remember he invited Lowassa, late Lowassa, to join him on the podium. Say, you come and join us here. You're not going to be a candidate. Be here. We, the elders, will determine who these people would be. So even the NRM constitution needs to be revisited so that CEC members are elected from prominent citizens who have integrity and character, who now sit here to vet those who will be coming to stand for various positions. So they themselves, actually, they disqualify themselves from running for any political
Maybe
office.
let me help you here.
There should be a complete distinction. You just imagine, one of the critical roles, just give me one more minute. One of the critical roles of CEC, apart from the two Honorable Mike Mukula has mentioned, about strategic leadership and policies. One of the things that CEC should do is basically to hold the government in power accountable for performance. Because as a political party, you want because Honorable Mukula said those manifestos are handed over to a sitting government, which is actually the party in government now. So when you take up our manifesto, you must go and perform. So as CEC members, we should be able to say, so how are you performing? There's corruption in government. How do you now account to us, the party? Because the party now must be superior more than those people in government themselves.
Okay.
So that is the mismatch. So you find my friend, Honorable Barabonsi, will be a CEC member, and again, at the same time, a minister.
Honorable Mar, I'm going to come
How
back
does this check on himself?
I'm going to come back to
I just want to put one point clear.
Yeah.
What we do in CEC when we have a conflict of interest,
Yes.
we excuse ourselves. Like now I've written to the chairman and the Secretary General for record to say, when they are vetting leaders from the East who are competing with me, I will excuse myself and I will not be in that room. We will leave it to the rest. Secondly, we've also had situations where we have had the president himself.
Right, that is the procedure.
That's the procedure.
Even the president.
Who has set
Even
the
the
checklist?
Even the president.
Okay.
Let me get it to you.
Yes. Lastly, Captain.
even the president, when we have other candidates who have expressed their interest in the chairmanship or the presidency, we ask all of them to go out, then we discuss internally as a party, and we've had these instances even in Nambole, where the president at one time you had with your brother Okotogong, who was aspiring. We asked all of them to go out, and we handed the chair to Al-Haji Kigongo, and members were able to articulate these issues very clearly.
Captain,
and I want to tell you,
I want to come back to that
the
point.
internal democracy of the party
Yes,
is,
I'm going to come
brotherhood.
Allow me come back to that one. Let me come to Nzere here. You are a candidate. You have been in Chiruhura as the chairperson of the district for 10 years.
15 years.
15 years as the chairman.
Yeah.
Why vie for SEC? Why should all these regions give you their vote to lead the Western region? What do you bring on the table?
Thank you, Thomas and viewers. Thank you. As you mentioned, I was former chairman of NRM Chiruhura district for the last 3 terms. And in those 3 terms, we have been winning the whole country with 99.88%.
The whole country or the whole
The whole
district?
country.
Best performing.
Okay.
The best performing district. It was Kazo and Chiruhura under my leadership.
So you're crediting yourself to that?
Yes. For
Why?
3 terms, you find out we are a researcher. Not only that, I gave what they call taste, 10% back to NRM. I built NRM office, even if it is small. I gave them land from my own sweat. I first started as a supporter for 10 years before I became a leader. So I have been in NRM for 30 years. 10 years of supporting, 20 years of leadership. So those 30 years, I have learned the challenges of the lower structures from a district level up to LC1.
Nzere,
So I think
what makes you a credible candidate?
I have been winning the whole country. What is
What are you bringing?
I'm bringing experience.
Except winning.
Experience. I'm bringing the formulas that I've been using to win the whole country. The whole country, if I put it at regional level, don't you want a block vote from Western Uganda? And under his leadership, my senior comrade is here. He can testify in his region as vice chairman of Western region. It was only Chiruhura and Kazo that performed, I think, the highest point of 99.8.
So
I think if I'm elevated, when you win in a class, you're supposed to be elevated.
So you want to go to the next class?
Yes.
You're looking for promotion?
It's not mine.
I have won 3 times. Why don't I be promoted to a regional level? So that I'm bringing the same formula, the same tactics, the same skills of mobilization to a regional level. I've been mobilizing only 2 districts. But if I'm given the whole Western Uganda, and we are voted by the whole country, I'm not only limited to Western Uganda. I will go over to Eastern, Karamoja, Northern, Central.
So you have been with the NRM for 30 years. You have been with PLU a few years. Where does your loyalty lie?
Of course, my loyalty lies with the NRM. PLU, I subscribed there. It's just a reinforcement group. It's like, you know, all political parties have formations. Like,
it's a pressure group.
It's
like
UID. DP has Zambogo, has UID. No, FDC have Marwa Group, has a reform agenda. NUP has Kunga, has GARI, has others. Why not NRM has Yellow Brigade, MK Forces, Revolutionary Guard? We merged all these one under PRU. Yellow Brigade, the Honorable Mkola had his in Eastern. Honorable Variumus had his in Western. We merged. But they have done wonders. That's why you don't see even tear gas on the street. They have, the youth have a belonging. So I think I'm a bridge for the young generation and the old generation. I can be a bridge. I can be intergenerational linkage.
Zaire, before I come to Dr. Sarah, you are the brother to the president. Your nephew has put out a tweet. Doesn't it become a very uneven playing ground because you already have an upper hand, a silver spoon that you can turn gold, even with the opponent here? What makes you credible, especially looking at your family?
I think I'm 50 years of age. I'm a married man. I have my own family. That's why I want my own identity. I have been working, I have been delivering for NRM for 20 years under my own identity. Why do you want me to keep in people's armpits and shadows? I have a reputation. I have a name. Sleeping in a garage doesn't make a car. I'm here to offer my services. I'm driven by principle number one, patriotism of NRM. I don't want another job. I know there is many jobs outside there, but I want to serve my party. I want continuity of our party.
So before I come to Dr. Sarah, one of the things is formulating policies. What policies are you bringing on table?
There are very many, but one of them, of course, is to engage youth, as you said, to make sure that youth voice is heard at a regional level, and of course at a CEC level. Then it's also, I want also to bring new ideas, which you see, I think, to me, they are lacking at CEC. Like, for example, dialoguing with even you people, media people. The media, you have been having positive, negative minds.
What do you mean by dialogue? What dialogue are you talking about here?
Dialogue, I told you we can, like how we are seated here in this room, we dialogue.
Okay. Yes. Dr. Sarah, when I come to you, and especially looking at how the primaries were and how violent they were, 3,000 people that really were vying for different positions, 291 vying for CEC. Please audit this method of lining up this party called NRM that purports to call itself mass in nature, and yet we're seeing a lot of dents. Should they be leading us to the next level? And how does the national politics play with this meeting and conferences as we go forward?
Well, first of all, to credit NRM, they practice some element of internal democracy, except for the top position. Because the people who had gone to Tango Doi's commission to pick forms for the presidency, after paying money, they were tossed around. Come on Friday, deadline is Friday. They ended up not competing for that post. But other than that post, I think the other posts are competitive, open, although with challenges. As an election observer, there is no credible, free and fair elections that don't consider the principle of secrecy of a ballot. It's the first principle for an election to be considered credible, free and fair. The NRM took away that principle of secrecy of a ballot and exposed their members to bribery, and they have witnessed this, to violence, manipulation, and of course, the consequences of this lining up. When you look at the domestic violence aspect, some families go into conflict, where a husband thinks a wife should support a certain candidate or vice versa. So people lose their free will to vote in this lining up method. It's possible that even when a head of a family or even a wife in a family is standing, the husband might not want to vote for his wife for reasons best known to them. But when you expose them in lining up, how do they make that decision? So that decision should be reversed, and it's good that we are talking to the members of the policy organ of NRM it does not qualify as a principle of credible elections, and it should be reversed. When you look at the other elements of the elections, the manipulation of registers, we saw young people lining up in several areas of the country. We saw the, of course, counting and then alteration of results. Even if we chose to go by the issues raised by the president in his, I think he wrote 3 letters about the NRM primaries, you see that really there was a crisis of credibility in these elections, and the methods should be reviewed and changed. If you look at the crisis in that spills over to national elections, the commercialization of politics, I don't know what the leaders are thinking. And CEC, by its nature, should have a necessary crowd to influence national trends in politics. And I don't know whether the 2 members, my good friends, Chris and Mike, whether they feel that they have done enough in influencing the political trends at the national level as a top organ of the ruling party, which has been in power for so many years, although they've served at that organ for a few years. What impact do you have that you would consider positive in the national political terrain?
True.
Violence, commercialization of politics. Politics have now become like a job, the most competitive job, if you consider the 291 people whom I want to think are all eminent persons. Because to vie for CEC, this is a post of eminent persons in the country, vying for 17 positions. 291. What is the crisis? Are people looking for jobs? Are people looking for relevance? Are people looking for privilege? Are people desirous of serving? Which is which? And why all this number? You can say we have empowered the people, but I don't think so. I don't think so. If you consider even the first topic that we discussed, the challenges of traders, and the next that you've announced of protecting the gains, if you consider the economic outlook of this country beyond the statistics on paper, the only profitable business is politics. Highest paying, the MPs earn between 40 to 60 million or above. Which other job pays this money? Maybe Uganda Airlines. I saw their salaries are also high above there. You have Parliament as #1 best employer. You have Uganda Airlines, then you can come maybe to URA and KCCA. How can we have politics like this? The professionals, the cream of the country, should be able to attract the highest pay. Politicians should retain the element of service. Of course, we are not saying they should work for free, but politics should not be the #1 best employer in the country. How do we reverse this fraudulent context of NRM? Does CEC discuss such matters? Of course, if you go to the, and I hope protecting the gains will look at what have they achieved in the 5 years. We've lost the institution of Parliament. With all due respect to my friends Omara and Chris, really the performance of this Parliament, I think, with all due respect, is the worst since independence. Does CEC discuss such matters? Are you, for example, discussing leadership of that house? Because that is one of your decisions. Leadership of Parliament. What have you delivered for this country's sake? Do you sit and assess? If people you deployed hoping they will perform have failed, do you review and re-examine? Or you are going to endorse the same? And then what gains are you protecting? If you look at the plight of business people, whenever we go for our workshops in hotels, hoteliers are crying. They are on their knees because of high taxes. I don't know, if you compare with East Africa, it seems like the lowest. But we need to be mindful that Kenya and Tanzania are bigger economies than Uganda. So it's irrational to just look at the level of taxation without looking at the other factors in these economies better than Uganda. How come hoteliers are crying, business people in Chukuba are crying, people with the shops on the streets are crying, employers are crying? About 50% of your salary goes into statutory obligations, and you take home 50%. What kind of regime are we propagating?
Are you also crying?
Yes, of course. I lose about 50% of my salary, and I can't make ends meet.
Okay. How much do you get? That is your salary.
You look up a person.
Let me read some messages. Hello, thank you for hosting Zaire and Mukula. They represent the NRM in full. Let me get the number. Okay, you are requesting for something else there. The NRM SEC cannot influence anything in the general elections. Why? Because Dr. Tango Doi clearly said we have one presidential candidate to pick forms. For the NRM, SEC has nothing. They can change. They're a bunch of people who are just there to fill their own desires. I want the president's brother to be elected and we watch, but I want also to comment on your panelists. Is there somebody selecting them? Okay. And call yourselves, okay. Thank you very much for your message there. I get it clearly. This is Teacher Musa from Katakwi, says, the investors everywhere now, they are trying to do even more in the rural areas. You come to Usuku, many of them are in places deep in the villages. What will our businessmen and women do? Greetings to our hero from Teso, and also we cherish what he's doing. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Timothy, for the show, and watching the panelists there. I'm watching from Kanungu. Thank you for hosting my Member of Parliament, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi. Thank you very much for watching. Lastly, before we take a break, I am Kainerugaba Innocent from Hoima. SEC has influenced Uganda's politics positively because some of the areas are also gaining in terms of development. Okay, I see something about traders here. The issue with UNBS and URA specifically is on ICDs, is outright corruption by officers, especially those verifying. It's boiling down to tax administration, to UNBS putting barriers that make clearing of goods extremely difficult and soliciting for kickbacks. The president should cast a wider net that he did, like he did in CAA. That way he will be able to get what we need. Okay. We also invited the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi to be able to join this panel, but unfortunately he didn't make it because we wanted to be able to have context for the balance of this conversation. When we come back, we're going to talk about the functions of SEC and also go further into these protecting gains. What are they? What do they look like? This and more after this break.
Together with MTN present a live VIP for a limited time. Gates open at 12 p.m. To buy your ticket, dial *165 *20# and buy your ticket from MTN Momo. Our Live in the Park is powered by Uganda Airlines, Safe Border, Cooksey Ice Cream, Kampala Serena Hotel, Zeti Inubia, and
MTN. Together, we're unstoppable.
You got us on your wallet. Bobby, again, what's the drama?
Drama? Colleagues, elections for special interest groups are calling. SIGs, elections. Youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time to vote for our leaders. June through August. From village to parish to district to nationals. Youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time, go vote your leaders.
No.
Election Elections are supposed to be peaceful. Easy vote, okay?
Youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the Special Interest Group elections. Starting June through August this year. Your vote, your voice. My vote, my voice. This message is brought to you by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of the roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project. That answers somebody's question.
The front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
When you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers, you bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back from that quick commercial break here on Behind the Headlines. My name is Timothy Nyangweso. In the studio, I'm joined by Dr. Sarah Birete, Nzeire Kaguta Cedric, who is aspiring as a member of CEC for Western Region, but also Honorable Mara Paul, who is incumbent, but also the flag bearer for Otuke County as a member of parliament. Honorable Flight Captain Mike Mukula, the incumbent Eastern Region Vice Chairperson NRM, but also an aspirant there. And the Cabinet Minister, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, the incumbent and also an aspirant for Western Region Vice Chairperson. Let's get into the conversation of the vetting, but I've seen a message here from all the way in Loro Town Council in Oyam District. It seems SEC is so lucrative. This is because the constituents, the contestants are behaving beyond the NRM constitution. Some may be camping in the delegates' hotels, okay? Interesting. Thank you very much for the program. Paying taxes is only a need to be free and fair, fully reflective in our national development. I highly thank and recognize Dr. Chris Baryomunsi for his good leadership and social advocacy for our party. How I wish that he's again given another term. This is James Bond from Fort Porto. They are just comments, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Timothy. I like the conversation from Captain Mike Mukula and the strikes, but I'm hoping that if given a ministerial position in trade and industry, this will solve the commotion and problems of the traders. Chizito Charles in Njeru, Buikwe District. Okay, keep the messages coming. I'll get to them in a short while. Let's get to this vetting, because you as the top organ, and I want to stick to vetting, Honorable Minister. You have known each other for 5 years. I have hosted you and the vice chairpersons here before, and we have discussed NRM's manifesto and its achievements. How is this going to be a clear, fair, and integral process if you and Honorable Mike Mukula, if one is going to watch the other's shoulder to ensure that Nzeire is out?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me clarify one thing, then I answer that. The Chiruhura, 99%. In statistics, we have what we call
actually, Honorable, sorry for information. In 2016, they got 100%. We wondered how they delivered it.
I'm here. I can.
You will respond to it. Let's get the vetting and come back to you. Yes.
In the statistics, is what we call the power of attribution, the cause-effect analysis. When the Chiruhura President Museveni gets 99%, what do you attribute that to? Is it because Mr. Nzeire is the chairman? Is it because Dr. Baryomunsi is the vice chairman for Western region, where Chiruhura is, or is it because President Museveni comes from Chiruhura? So you have to be more analytical than merely saying I was the chairman and produced 99%.
But he also comes from Gomba. It's not only Chiruhura. No. For your information, Honorable.
Okay, let me
I'm going to come back to you to defend that. Allow him complete his point.
Let me come to vetting.
Vetting.
Let me start by saying CEC is the highest policy organ of the party. It is a think tank for the party. The organ that shapes the political direction of the party and therefore government. And therefore, while every member of NRM is free to contest, but the party has to choose its best. We look at quality. You must have quality for the members who can sit at that level and add value. It's not a matter of sitting there and say you're a member of CEC, but you must be able to add value in terms of thinking, in terms of providing ideas and giving strategic direction of the party in the country. Now, the constitution of NRM provides for vetting, particularly for the top 9, like I said earlier on, the chairman of the party, the 2 national vice chairpersons, and the 6 national regional vice chairpersons. I think your worry and fear is that if I am an incumbent member of CEC, will I be fair? Will I be objective? The fact that I sit with the Honorable Mike Mukura in the CEC does not mean that I cannot be objective while assessing whether he should be cleared or not. Like we have already said, we have criteria and parameters we look at. And
what are those criteria and parameters, Honorable Minister?
First of all, the candidates submit their profiles through CVs, curriculum vitae. We have to look at your general qualifications, loyalty, have you been part of the membership of the party, and so forth. Because we are looking for quality leaders, national leaders, not any other person. And we see whether you meet some of these parameters. And also, like my colleague has said, when they are assessing the position where you are as an incumbent, then you excuse yourself. For instance, President Yoweri Museveni, yes, he was nominated alone for both presidential flag bearer and party chairperson. But tomorrow, when we get to his position, we shall ask him to excuse himself from the meeting. Haji Chigongo, who is the first national vice chairperson, will sit in the chair, and we shall assess President Yoweri Museveni.
So you will get his CV,
yes,
his 40 years of rule,
yes, and we shall...
Against who?
No, we shall make a decision whether we endorse him as a flag bearer or as chairman of the party. And don't think that we are a batch of people who will just say, yes, oh yes, NRM, oh yeah. No, we critique the whole arrangement and make comments, and notes are taken, and the report is given. And the same for the other positions. Now when it comes to say, I want to assure Mr. Nzeire, you should not think that now I will be there to give him marks. When it comes for Western Uganda, for instance, where we are 11 contestants, we shall be given an opportunity to address CEC members. We introduce ourselves.
I think 10 minutes.
Yes, 10 minutes. Why do you think you are the best for that position? What are you offering? What are you bringing to CEC? And then we shall excuse ourselves. Then the other members who remain will now assess us and take a decision. Usually, the decision is not to remove people, but to assess to see whether somebody qualifies to really represent the party at that level. And it has been done since we went multi-party under our current constitution. CEC has been doing that, and we have not had any crisis. So the candidates who have offered them, they should not fear. They should be not worried, The process is fair, the process is objective, and
not subjective.
There is no malice. People, we don't connive to say, let's remove Zaire or remove so and so. No, we just assess and see this person having the basics really to represent the party at that level. Because the SEC, like I've said, is a top organ. The party would have to look for its best who can represent it at that level. And even that's the message we give our delegates. That don't just be excited, maybe somebody has paid an allowance, or so, but you assess all of us who are standing and say, this kind of person, indeed I can feel proud if he or she is representing me at a party level, at that level.
Honorable Minister, you are assessing it against what criteria? Because even when you're doing an exam, there is a marking scheme. What is this criteria you are assessing these candidates or you as a candidate against?
Where I am hesitant to give the details of what we go through.
It is a public process.
No, it's not necessarily public.
Because you have to be accountable.
We shall not allow
to
you to cover that process. It's not public. It's a closed session. So I may not be in a position to give you the nitty-gritties, but you just be assured that we have best criteria that we follow. And that's why we ask candidates to submit their CVs, which CVs are subjected to security vetting. For instance, if you have a criminal record, such as things, we look at all those things. But the process is fair and nobody is injured through that process unfairly, no. And that's why, for instance, I contested last time with the General Charigonza. He was a general in the army, and
you were fine.
Senior member. I was, yes, the Minister of State. I presented myself, but I was not removed because I was contesting against an incumbent who is a general. I still went ahead. So usually, unless you have something adverse, very obvious that this person probably cannot really promote the image of the party, usually the candidates pass. So there should be no cause for alarm among the candidates or their supporters.
Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, let me come to you. Give us the basics of the criteria. Because I remember a SEC where the president stood up and said...
Before a captain comes in, yes, you look at the qualification, the integrity issues, the conduct, but also balance the politics. For instance, one question which is likely to arise, say for Western Uganda, we say, is it politically a fair decision to have a chairman of the party having his brother as his vice from the region? That's a question which
from the same district,
from the same family. Is it political?
And
such a thing?
I hope
so
Nzeri, you can take note of that.
Because the party is looking at the general politics of the country also.
And it makes
such a question will be on the table within the SEC, and they evaluate it and see if you are giving a political direction for NRM. That's a significant issue which the party has to invite itself to. So such a things, so that you balance the country, you balance the politics, because SEC is a political organ that gives the political direction.
But it is not a tribal organ or a religion organ.
Okay, it's not a religion.
No, SEC manages politics.
It's a political organ.
SEC manages politics.
And
that's a political issue.
Politics of identity versus interest.
And we're going to come to that. Let me come to Honorable Captain Mike Mukula. What are the basic criteria? Because even you as an employer, and you put out a job ad, you're looking for certain competences to be able to get the job. And can this process be free and fair? I remember the president standing up and saying, Odrek did not ask me for permission to do this. I also remember a tweet to him by his nephew telling him that he should stand down because he didn't ask for permission. How is this process the basic criteria, but also is it free and fair?
Is a rebel in the family.
I think what we look at as the party is the political purity and the credentials of the candidates that vie for the highest political organ of the party. You look at ideological clarity. In order for you to have knowledge of the party, in order for you to drive the party, it's important that ideological clarity is something that drives the political hygiene or the basis of vetting. Second thing, for example, is that you'd also want to say that the candidate that we're presenting has served for the, worked for the party. He has a credible record and a track record. His matrix show very clearly that he has been instrumental in campaigning for the party. He has been an ideal person in ensuring that the party is enhanced internally and externally. The third point is the ability for you as a person who is vying for that position to show your ability to have, for example, the oratory power, to be able to campaign for the party, to articulate the issues and be able to pull and recruit people into the party. It is also important for you to note the fourth criteria would be, for example, your criminality, your criminal record. If you have anything which is criminal, obviously the party will not allow you, because you'll find that you will will discredit the party, because that's why you find that the police, through these internal organs, will vet and verify and see that this person is clear and got a clear record of no crime at all, and he will merit that job. Just like you'd have anything that MTN or any corporate body would go through. Stanbic, they will evaluate those kind of things. So bottom line, and I want you to understand that even if we go through the vetting, we have had instances, for example, in Uganda here. We have had from Professor Bukenya, then you had Naduli, Honorable Naduli, then you have had now Chiwanda. All of them were able to present them. Initially, there were people who were competing with them. But once we have vetted and cleared what you call the minimum, and we think that they qualify, we send them now to NEC. NEC also evaluates, then we send them further to the national conference. The national conference will take the final decision. And that's why I want to let you know that the national resistance movement is very transparent, is very democratic, it is very open. And I want to really assure you that it will not be possible for anybody in governance of this country, or even the Chinese Communist Party, any party, CCM, ANC, or even Orange Democratic Party in Kenya, the leadership is based on merit. And these are strikers, the best strikers of a party. And for example, if you look at Mkula in the Eastern, you'd want to see that in the East you have a Ronaldo who can strike and be able to score. Do you remove a Ronaldo who is scoring?
Yes, you can bring Vinicius Junior, who is young. You don't keep... Honorable Mike,
can you charge them a fee for campaigning?
Honorable Mike Mukula, let me stay with you. Yes. And we're going to speak of a hypothetical situation.
Yes.
As the original SEC members, right now as you are,
yes,
a hypothetical situation, you agree to keep the status quo.
Right.
That regardless of whether the Honorable Minister steps out, we will keep him in. And they decide that when you step out, they will keep you in. That possibility cannot elude Ugandans. The mistrust Ugandans have with the NRM, what confidence are you giving them that this process shall be free, fair, and credible, that the people who will come out of there will be, as you said, the Ronaldos?
I want to tell you, Article 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda says and states very clearly that power belongs to the people. And they will exercise that power through a free and fair democratic process and elect their leaders through that free and fair process. The Constitution of the National Resistance Movement is subservient to the primary law of this country. That's the Constitution. We will not veer, we will not at any given time work outside the premise of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. And constitutionalism, or the rule of law and order, is the cornerstone of the national resistance movement. One of the things that has kept the national resistance movement in power for the last 40 years is the ability for you to replenish your leaders in order for you to ensure that you at any given time maintain credibility of governance, not only internally, but externally. And that's why you find that when we have dominance of, when we present 499 candidates at the national level to compete with the other political parties, this is the best that we have picked. And we do not just nominate them, they're elected by the people.
I'm going to come to, Honorable Mara, you allow me to come to Nzere there. What are the mechanisms of resolutions? Because the tribunal, from the facts that we have of what happened, did not do a good job.
I want to say that
if Honorable Minister and Nzere here do not agree with the vetting there, what are the mechanisms to reconcile and move this party forward? Because the party has to come before the individuals that are there. What is there?
I want to tell you that we have mechanisms within the party. And without mincing my words, the Electoral Commission led by Tango Doi have done a tremendous job. They have done extremely well.
Honorable,
and let me tell you,
is not factual.
Let me tell you, in the last election, 2020, we had over nearly 1,600 petitions. 1,600. This time, we have 499.
Which you have not.
482.
How many have been resolved?
All of them, most of them have been resolved. And let me tell you.
90% of the incumbents are complaining about the tribunal. So when you say they have been resolved, what do you mean when 90% is still complaining? And you also have some that are independent.
Where have you got the figure of 90%?
Let me tell you one thing, Ndugu Nyangweso.
Minister, let's just say we have our facts here.
Let me give you very clear facts.
Because I'm one of the incumbents.
Any law, any judgment, and Birete here is a lawyer, will tell you that any judgment which is in your favor, you'll always be happy with it. Any judgment which is not in your favor, you'll not always be happy with it. The principles of law are based on equity, and law is logic applied well.
Okay.
And let me also hasten to add that I think in all ways and means, the national resistance movement has at all times kept its credibility, because otherwise we would have negotiated ourselves out of power. Because the moment people see that you do not vent fairness, they will depart from you. And that's why I want to tell you, and listen to me very carefully, the national resistance movement has been in power for 39 years, next year 40 years. We have kept this power because we adhere to the principles of good governance and respecting the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda.
The last time you said
the governance points here are very important in driving the party forward. And that's why I want to add with the rider that President Museveni has been able to keep power. He knows how to keep power. And that preservation of keeping power is because he adheres to the rule of law and order.
Last time you told us you're taking power to eternity, but let me come to Nzere here. Are you confident in this vetting process? And where are your concerns?
Yeah, really, I trust my party. I trust the leadership of NRM. I trust the CEC. And I'm ready. If we are given a level to ground, we wait for 2027 for our results. But I want to go back to Honorable Yumus's argument. And I was really surprised, Minister for National Guidance, who is still practicing politics of identity versus interest. As I told you, in fact, President Museveni is a brother for all. In fact, he's more a brother to him than me. He's a minister, he's an MP.
You're disowning him.
He's a SEC member. Monday is in cabinet, Tuesday, parliament, Thursday, SEC, Friday, constituency. When will he get time to attend to regional issues? So I think when we go, let us go for individual merit, not blackmail. No, I did not choose to be born in that family. First of all, my brothers, General Saleh and General Museveni, when they are fighting, people did not complain that Kaguta is going to lose 2 sons at a battlefield. One should go back home. and the NRM originated from NRA. When I was winning Chiruhura with 99.8%, they were not complaining. Why is it coming now? But I have been looking for who is insinuating it. Now I've seen him.
So can I get
I've seen him.
Just hold on, I'm coming back to you.
Yes, I've seen him. I'm sorry. In fact, I had already intercepted some audio on a radio talk show where he was saying, in fact, he entered into our family so much, which I don't want to go there right now. With the right time, I will address it.
Personally.
Because I was brought up in a good manner, I cannot attack an elder on a national TV.
No, you see,
and we need really we need respect when it comes to family. I think you have your own family. Recently, people brought rumors about your family.
What?
But I could. You are medical doctor.
I think now.
Yes.
Please,
I think because you cannot. I have constitutional right to stand. I'm not standing because I'm a brother of the president.
Okay. Before I get back to the minister, let me ask you a question. You said regional challenges. What regional challenges are you coming to address?
Thank you. First of all, regional challenges. We know they differ. Because I'm voted by all Ugandans, delegates are coming from the corners of this country, northern, eastern, Karamoja, Kampala. I have mapped this country. I know the problem of northern. I know the problem of eastern. If it is compensation for the animal, I know it. Central Uganda, if it is coffee and cooperative, I know it.
So what
Karamoja, if it is their safety for animals, and I know it. Western Uganda, if in Tigezi tea problem, I know it. In Ankole, if it is the milk and the banana plantation, I know it. Bunyoro, if it is the oil and gas, local content, I know how to address it. So I'm coming here to be a bridge, to bridge the gap for those peasants, the raw cadres, the raw structures. We want to strengthen the structures of NRM from a district to LC1, because I've been there.
Nzeire, you've said you want to be a bridge. A bridge from where to where? We know the challenge. What is the solution you provided?
The solution for unemployment, for
example, the challenges you've mentioned? Yes,
like unemployment for youth. So
how are you going to deal with that?
There are many government interventions already, but we need to integrate them. There is OWC, there is a PDM, there is a GROW, there is a microfinance support center, there is a skilling, but the regional leaders are not disseminating information to the ground. Those things government has planned, president has planned, and of course with the cabinet and these leaders. But we need someone who is free to go and inform the masses about those projects. But the people are busy, they came. I realize sometimes I forgive him because he's occupied. And I want to relieve him and do some party work, and then he can perform better in other fields. But what I can tell you,
there's a question the Honorable Minister raised that could show up in your vetting, and you have answered it. Do you think that will be satisfactory for you to be able to go through? The question about you are in the family, the first family.
Yes, I think viewers are seeing, delegates are there, they know how to separate family. I did not choose to be born in that family, and I'm lucky that I was born in that family because I was mentored, disciplined. For example, in 2014, I stood, and the same CEC told me, you are still young, please step down for Sinka Tongare, which I did. I showed, because of discipline and the party loyalty, I had to step down.
Okay.
But this time, it is my time because I have served, I have left the position where I was serving as the chairman of NRM district, and I still want to mobilize for my party. But I cannot come to UBC to mobilize for my party. I come as a president's brother. I need a platform. I need where to stand. I need, at the same time, my brother Timothy. we want permanent marriage between ruling party and public service. We have been there advocating for permanent marriage. Our people, CEC, plans well. When it reaches to implementation, they don't want chairpersons of NRM at the district level to be in planning and supervision. But when there is, now if there is road shading, they will say you come and see NRM. But when now the rates are on here, we are still in studio, people are watching us. This is our country. This is country.
Let me just help.
Okay, just a quick
one small thing.
Small comment, then I'll come to, yes.
Ndugu Zaire, CEC is basically strategic direction, and it handles, it's a political compass of the party. We are hands off, we are eyes on, hands off, meaning that the moment we midwife power,
my boss, let me deliver my point.
Let me finish.
Let him finish. I won't come back.
Then you'll come back. Once you midwife government, that's when you capture power. You now give this animal called power to the state, and that's government. That's where the flag bearer, the presidential candidate, comes and appoints his members of cabinet. He now structures government. Now you set up the other organ, which is the parliamentary system, which is the legislative arm. Now it is these that have clear function defined by the Constitution. Now you as a party, you sit back and you now watch. And that's why I want to tell you that the functions of the party are clearly defined in our Constitution, and the function of the state are also clearly defined, and their roles. And that's why oversight is by members of parliament, for example.
But Honorable Michael Mkora, CEC member, my boss, I totally agree with you, but we are tired of doing post-mortem. For example, now, you people who drive on Express Highway 27, now the road is ours, all of us, Ugandans. But after there is a small pothole, you come and see the pothole of NRM. But when they are working on that road, Chairman LC3 of Kampala for NRM was not supervising that road. Even if, that's why now, for us, we keep coming to do post-mortem. When they were eating that money for the drainage, when they were on implementation, we want to be in planning at the same time in implementation. So we are asking those who are there, since they have failed to do that, let them give us chance.
So you you want to change policy.
You have to
like
amend the Constitution.
That
If they need
you want to be hands-on and eyes-on.
Eyes-on.
Okay.
I think there is poor understanding of what CEC is.
But also,
and what it does.
Let me come to Honorable Mara. Honorable Mara, is the challenge the NRM, the system, or the individuals?
It's a tough question. What I think is that NRM, as a political party, its constitution, its mandate, is very well structured. It has the best manifesto. If you look at the constitution of NRM, it's very, how do I call it, very democratic, very robust. So the key issue now becomes implementation of programs or policies and so forth. I just want to pick one example. For example, CEC is now very busy at this time, or NRM machinery, NRM party machinery is very busy, as explained by the minister, where elections took place from grassroots and it came up, is finalizing with CEC. CEC will come up with a policy position, CEC will come up with a manifesto, which will be used for campaigns. So the party structure will be very active. But immediately after the elections, it is like the party is used for electoral purposes. Beyond that one, the party will go silent for the next 5 years. So I think the challenge which my brother is stating is, how do we keep NRM? How does CEC, as the highest political organ of the party, make sure that party activities are continuous are engaged, are robust. There's accountability up to the lower levels, other than, because at the SEC level, I would want to agree with Honorable Mukula, it provides that strategic direction, the compass. This is where we are going. But now, if you are a commander, you're saying this is where we are going and the troops are behind. You want to win that war. How do you then make sure that the party structure is robust? For example, you find that the manifesto is handed over to the government in power. The president who will form up the cabinet, and through the government structure, the implementation will happen up to local government. But you find the chairman, NRM, of the district
is not sitting in the council.
It's not in the council, that's one, but also he has no relationship of providing oversight over the party activities within the area that he controls, you know, right up to the SEC level, to just say where we are, yes, there's a government program which is coming, but as party members, this is what we see. Maybe there's big corruption here, or the implementation of government program is not going well here. I want to give, I'm told stories of UPC, why UPC was very strong, you know, in the days of Dr. Bote. That when the president goes to a district, the first point of call is not the DC, it's the chairman of UPC of that area. Chairman, report to base. What is going on? And the chairman of UPC at the time was so powerful that he can even say, there's going to be a school here. And that message will come right up through government, and a secondary school is built. Now, for NRM, the activation at the grassroots level happens during elections, up to SEC. When a party wins power and is in government, the system dies. And I think that is a fundamental question, is a policy issue, or maybe even a party constitutional issue, to see how do we make sure that after we have delivered the government, and the government is implementing, as a party, we are accountable to the people. Because during the campaigns, we made all these promises in the manifesto. Now, if this government that we have put in power does not perform, there's corruption in the entire system. The money sent to the districts are eaten. Like, for example, we had the president in Lango, where the money sent for cattle compensations are being eaten by lawyers and a few individuals there. And the president has told us, do we keep the system which is here, or should we change it? Because he said, I am seeing that this money is being wasted and is being stolen. So what has been the role of the party chairman at the district level, the party chairman at the sub-county level, the party chairman at the LC1 level? So that is the disconnect which we must look at. The other second policy issue that I see, which for me is something that we will continue to debate even in the caucus or in a much bigger forum. Should SEC members be members who are seeking for, say, parliamentary roles? Should they be members who will be appointed ministers? Or SEC members should be people like Mr. Mukula here, Honorable Mukula, who is an eminent citizen in the countryside. He is running his own businesses. He only comes to think through and give a party a strategic direction.
No other role.
No other roles. He goes back and he just sits, and then when something goes wrong, they assemble. They said, Mr. Chairman, our government is not performing. There's corruption there. There's poor issues happening there. Then SEC immediately discusses and takes these things through.
Correct.
Otherwise, we're going to have elected leaders. Omari is a member of parliament, is a member of SEC, is a minister. I'm not pointing at my brother, but that is what I see.
But that's
that you find SEC members, there are a couple of SEC members who are ministers, who can no longer, you just imagine something goes wrong in your ministry, and you cannot self-account to yourself. You must account to the Politburo, the Central Executive Committee of the party. Like in South Africa, they can call the party president, who is the president of a country. That is how Mbeki was removed from power. So the party is much stronger than even those who hold political power, executive roles. So that is something that we will have to relook and debate, and it requires some intellectual thinking. And so the idea of selecting or vetting people at SEC level is something that I support totally. And I would dare say, even that selection should go right down to Parliament. Why should you have anybody just coming from nowhere without identity, without credibility, has built nothing, has done nothing, and tomorrow he just wakes up as a member of Parliament?
Thank you.
And they come and do nothing.
Allow me to bring in Dr. Sarah. Doctor, when you hear, especially from the Honorable Minister, the Honorable Mukula Nzeire there, strategic, gives you the manifesto, has a social contract with the people, but has a parallel organization running against the government, and none of them is checking the other. Is this system of the NRM, when you look in hindsight of where we want to be as a country, does it give us where we want to be?
You see, the constitution of NRM provides that SEC will offer leadership to the country, underlying its agenda and setting the goals. The question that we should ask is, has SEC done that duty? I raised in my earlier submission the challenges in the country, the governance challenges in the country. Human rights abuses, violence in elections, corruption, poor road network countrywide. I hope that is not among the gains they want to protect. These challenges are, I hope those are not considered the gains to protect. Does SEC ever debate these challenges? And what leadership does it offer? For 39 years in power, NRM has always promised, right from the bush, to fight corruption. It was point number 7 in the 10 points program. The last I heard of the head of state was an announcement that now corruption is in his household and the people are selling appointments. And he gave a demonstration of how his daughter was a whistleblower. So if for 39 years we have endemic corruption, what leadership has SEC offered? If for 39 years we are choking on abuse of human rights, what is the position of SEC? Commercialization of politics. Going into their own election now. Delegates are hidden in Kenya and Tanzania for some of their positions in SEC. What leadership has SEC offered? If you look at the leadership of institutions of government, because when the president says the systems are dead, a head of state, the systems are dead, 39 years of leadership. What does that mean? And has SEC discussed that statement from their chairman and president of Uganda, that all systems are dead? And what leadership have they offered? So for me, I would like to see a SEC of a party that is authoritative, the way South Africa ANC SEC is.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe SEC in 2017 also retired Mugabe. If you compare with the Chuba to meet a minister, you rather meet a member of the Central Executive Committee. You are home and dry. So how can they be authoritative, have power, but also be accountable to the conduct of their party in power? Whereas there is a difference between a party and the state. The government in power is accountable for the conduct of the state for that period you are in power. Would SEC be accountable for the conduct of NRM in power? And what contribution have you made? So unless SEC answers this question, it is not relevant to the ordinary people. It is not relevant to me as a governance activist. Because of what function is it? Can I press my hands on the function and relevance of SEC in this country?
Dr. Sarah, just switching it up a little, the portrait was shown yesterday, and
I think it's of 2016. But what I have confirmed, it's the portrait of 2021.
The pottery?
Yes, that is the campaign post of 2021.
Okay.
That is confirmed. But I think it was of 2016.
For me, it is the tagline that catches me.
Protecting the gains.
Protecting the gains as we make a qualitative leap into high middle income status. And I remember a few years ago, there was consolidating achievements.
Securing the future.
We're ending securing the future. When you look at these slogans, do they make sense at all?
Of course not. I have mentioned the governance challenges. I have mentioned. What is the rate of corruption?
Whose gains are being protected? Whose future is being secured? Whose achievements are being consolidated? Because it is a statement that is in limbo with no qualifier.
I will wait to see the party manifesto, but also CEC has been assessing the performance of the outgoing manifesto. So it would be good to hear from them what they think they have achieved. I know that what has stood out really in this 5 years is PDM. But as much as we are giving money to the people at the grassroots, 1 million, what money are we losing at the national level? And if we close the loopholes, would we need handouts for people? Or people would be able to get a leap forward on their own? So we need to choose between handouts, or lift up, or leap forward, and closing the loopholes of corruption to make the economy work for everyone. So if you look at the scorecard for NRM today, number one is security relative, the borders are secure, some parts of citizens are secure, others are not, depending on what has happened to them in the night. We still have panga-wielding thieves here and there. We still have elements of that criminality affecting people differently. But also security of a nation goes hand in hand with the assessment of the neighbors, the security of neighbors, but also the awareness of the people. So when you look at the fundamental rights and freedoms, now with the abuses going into kidnaps, torture, and we are worried of elections. By the way, if you did a survey on the streets in Kampala today, you will find that half the population is more worried about elections. They would wish there were no elections. Because of the violence that is going to happen, the torture, the missing persons, many people wish whoever is in power could even stay there instead of people suffering. So how does NRM account for those abuses?
Thank you very much. Nzere, when you listen to, God willing, if you became the vice chairperson, Western Region, and this
on
is
27th, huh?
I'm not going to push that narrative, but I'll ask.
Praise the Lord.
I'm happy my election is next on the 13th of January.
What gains will you be protecting? And what is this qualifier for you to say qualitative? What are you protecting? And what have you secured in the future?
Of course, listeners and viewers, there are very many. We can go up to maybe next week. One of them, she's a woman. And she has a representative in each and every district, woman representative. That was ushered in by NRM. Isn't it achievement?
Okay, let's focus on the manifesto we're finishing and the one we're getting into. What future have you secured, but also what gains are you protecting?
The gains, there are many. There are many I cannot even.
Just give me two.
Two. One, I can start on the health sector. When I was born, I used. Let me talk about health sector and the education. When I walked 20 miles away from home, Rajtura to Rusheri. Those are 10 miles, 10 miles. Those are 20 miles. To and fro, looking for a school. But now in each and every parish there is a school and there is a health center 3. Isn't it that achievement?
It is.
My son, my grandson will not walk the same distance. Why don't we protect that gain?
But that's quantity. You're talking about quality.
The quality of course, the quality.
The quality of education,
When I
the
was,
quality of
when I was
healthcare.
studying, I studied in village schools in Karo. Now it's called Karo. By then it was called Rwamasha, near Shwerenchi. Oh, a computer was like a dream. But now each and every second school there is computer, there is a laboratory room. So isn't it that achievement?
Okay.
I was talking about health and education. Good communication. How many communication companies do we have in Uganda now? Everyone has a handset, smartphone. In a minute, the country is informed. Isn't that achievement?
Okay, thank you. Allow me to bring in Honorable Mara.
Yeah.
Honorable Mara, you are an economist. When we say qualitative, there's a yardstick of measure.
Yeah.
When you say protecting gains, what yardstick is being used to measure this qualitative?
Very simple. Every year, our economy adds 3 trillion shillings to our GDP, to our tax revenue.
Honorable, you and I have been here to talk about the budget.
Now,
we do not want to go down that road.
So Uganda's economy to date is around $65 billion. That is remarkable, given where we are coming from. And in 2040, we are projecting to have increased this economy to $500 billion. Quite unthinkable. And we are looking at oil revenues, and hopefully by next year we should be able to get something coming through. So the current per capita income for the country, for members, anyway, when you distribute it to individuals might be different, but it is now $1,300. You're already in the middle income economy.
Four times.
Yeah, what we are saying is now we should be able, if we drive our GDP, it goes beyond the $65 billion into $500 billion. This country will be totally different. Look right now.
Honorable Mara, let's
let me add. Let me add because
how much is our debt? How much is in domestic arrears? How much is our
those are elements that will be sorted as you grow your revenue, because it's a factor of income. A moment you increase, like a moment our oil revenue starts coming in, we'll be getting $2 billion every year.
That's
and that can actually quickly deal with your, because domestic arrears right now, the actual figure is 3.7 billion, 3.7 trillion shillings. That amount can be sorted out when the oil revenue starts coming through so quickly.
What's the public debt?
Public debt is around 87.
97?
87, okay. Maybe 90
about
at most.
50%.
At most about 90 trillion shillings.
Honorable, let's give a number. If the Honorable Minister has 5 million on him,
yeah.
Honorable Mike Pukula has 5 million on him, you have 5 million. Nzere here has 100,000.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
She has 100,000. I have 100,000. When we add it up,
yes,
it becomes 15.3.
Yeah.
When we divide it by the 5 people, it will show that each of us has about 3 million shillings. So when you say GDP per capita, is that really felt on the grassroots of a Ugandan, ordinary Uganda?
There will always be trickle-down economics.
Then what's the qualitative?
There will always be trickle-down economics. But what we are saying that, given the how do I call it, the matrix that is always used across all economies around the world, what we are saying as a government is that NRM government has made great achievements in terms of developing our economy. When you look at the macro factors, they are basically moving in the right direction. As I've already said, the economy adds 3 trillion shillings towards our revenue every financial year. The only thing is that our expenditure keeps on growing and growing. So when we are saying that all these things is actually happening without oil revenues, the moment the oil revenue starts coming in, We have in the range of 6,000 factories that are working. We just need to optimize them. So there will be youth employment that will come through year and year, because this country has become is stable when you consider strategic security. As investors begin to build confidence that coming here, this place being an island of peace, the factories will actually grow up. So the gains of the party is real, it's not a gimmick. Yes. And the numbers support it.
I was asking on the quality of investors.
The quality of investors.
Our traders are demonstrating because of hawkers, these foreign hawkers.
Honorable Mike Mukula, you employ about 3,000.
Minus those words.
Gentleman and lady, you employ about 3,000 people.
Yes.
When you say protecting the gains and you talk about qualitative, is that felt with your employers?
I think what you don't trivialize the state of the economy, our gains that we've made. And when we talk about consolidating and protecting the gains, look at where we have come from, where we are today, and where we are going. By 1986, the inflation in this country was 187%. I hope you take note of that. You'd also note that when you look at the factories we had in this country, we had only 82 factories. Today we are closing to 10,000 factories. 82 factories by 1982, by 1986. You'd also note that at that time we used to import beer, we used to import beverages, even soda, Coca-Cola. You come from Busia. I want you to note that at one time the late President Moi brought in sugar to donate to Uganda in Busia. Let me tell you, today we have hundreds and hundreds of tribes of beverages in the country. We now, the balance of trade between Kenya has shifted in favor of Uganda. That tells you that when you look at, first of all, infrastructure number one, security. Uganda now is peaceful from the north to the south, east to the west. That is a fundamental gain that we must protect. And that's a gain we must protect. And it is very important to all the Ugandans that are watching and listening to underscore one very important point. Security must be a gain we must protect. Two, you must also look at, now that we have peace and stability in the country, Uganda's comparative advantages in agriculture. 48% of our, 48% of that of East Africa's arable land is in Uganda. And now you can see that our comparative advantage being agriculture, we're exporting now large quantities. We are heading towards 8 million bags, I think, of coffee. We have excess of milk. We have excess of sugar. We have excess, literally, of everything. That tells you that we have now been able to manifest our comparative advantage. And we need to amplify that by adding value to what we produce.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you something further, because we don't have time. But I want to tell you one very important thing. Look at the road infrastructure. By 1986, we had 1,350 kilometers. We're now heading towards 10,000 kilometers of tarmac road. By 1986, we had only 2 generators working, generating 62 megawatts of power. Today, Uganda is almost competing with Kenya with the 2,057 megawatts of power. We have excess power. We now have built 5 dams. These 5 dams show you that Uganda has gained, and we can now be able to attract investors into the country. And that's why it's important for you to note that we're going to reduce the tariff. Once the tariff of electricity comes down, the cost of doing business will also come down. I also want to let you know that NRM has got what you call a mass arrangement, universal primary education. It may not be perfect, but it's there.
PDM.
You have universal medical health care. It may not be perfect, but it's there. You now have had a manifestation of a population which has grown from 14 million, 13 point something million people to now heading towards 47, 48 million people.
Okay.
And I want to tell you, as I close, for you to note one very fundamental thing. Your economy is growing at 6% per annum. Your economy, and I said that from the beginning, the macro is stable. The fiscal policy is on the correct tangent. You cannot therefore say that a country like Uganda, which is now an island of peace, which is now exporting peace. Our boots are in Somalia, our boots are in South Sudan. We pursued going to 2,000 kilometers in Central African Republic, never to come back again. Our boots are in the DRC Congo. That's what we are saying, consolidating the gains that we have made by making Uganda secure, so that Ugandans can now be able to harness these new gains and ensure that the country can be propelled to a new direction. In conclusion, let me tell you one very important thing. We have now gold in your area and in the country. We discovered 12 trillion in terms of value of gold untapped, 12 trillion US dollars. Oil is about 18 trillion US dollars, including gas. Uranium in this country is about 25 trillion. This is a rich country. We only need to harness that, but we cannot do that if we don't consolidate and maintain, protect the gains that we've made as a country.
Dr. Chris, lastly, when you say protecting the gains, and you are a medical doctor, and say qualitative, what yardstick is being used to measure this, especially as you get into the next cycle?
Okay, let me start with the SEC and how it relates with these qualitative improvements. SEC, as a policy organ of the party, sets direction, and the decisions it makes are implemented by government through the executive and legislature. So all these programs that you see being implemented many originate from SEC, like PDM is a brainchild of SEC. The additional 1 billion shillings we give districts to enhance road maintenance. Those are ideas coming from SEC. So SEC per se does not do the implementation. It does the thinking, and then that is translated into implementation through government. And definitely SEC supervises the government. If there was time, I would tell you the measures, the decisions we have taken in SEC to address issues of supervision, monitoring government, and so forth and so forth. Now, for you to say SEC has not done anything, then by implication you are saying the government has not done anything. Now, when you look at the theme of protecting the gains, you look back at the NRM since it came to power. NRM has invested in lots of what I would call now the quantitative aspects. Whether you talk of roads, the other day I toured the whole country meeting members of NRM leadership. I never stepped on Maram across the country. To Karamoja, to West Nile, to Chigezi, to Bukedi, I was moving on tarmac everywhere I went. Whether you talk of extending electricity, whether you talk of the hospitals and the health centers which have been constructed,
railways, nice.
Whether you talk of schools and educational facilities, say universities. When President Museveni came, we had only Makerere University. Now we boast of over 50 licensed universities, both public and private. Communication where you are, we only had this UBC, which was UTV. Now I preside over a section, a sector where we have 327 radio stations and over 50 television stations. I could go on and on. Extension of safe water, all these. These are visible to the naked eye, you can see them. Now these translate into qualitative change. And from a technical standpoint, you can measure qualitative change. They're what we call quality of life or impact indicators. Let me give you an example. You have said I'm a doctor. Let me now tell you as a public health specialist. Life expectancy at birth had lowered to 43 years. It has now since increased to 68 because we measure this through censuses, demographic and health surveys, and population-based surveys, which are measurable across the world. Number two, infant mortality rate. It was 3 digits, it has reduced to 36 now per 1,000. Maternal mortality rate, maternal mortality ratio. These are measures which look at quality of life. When NRM came, the measure was about 700 deaths per 100,000 live births. That's how we measure it. It has since reduced to 189. Can I go on? Population, just hold on, living below the poverty line. In the early 90s, it was measured at 56%. Today, it has reduced to 20.3%. Those, the subsistence livelihood.
That is qualitative.
The other census of 2014 put it at 68% of Ugandan households living in the subsistence livelihood. The current measure now, the figure, the most recent, is 33%. Okay. That's how you measure quality of life. So those are gains, unless you have your alternative statistics, but those are the official statistics which we have measured. So that means under the NRM leadership, there has been a quantitative and qualitative leap in terms of improvement. And now we are saying the next term, the Sanja we are going to, is to protect all these gains so that we don't get reversals where we are getting positive trends.
Yes, Honorable, if I may ask.
Yes, please.
How about addressing the challenges? Does CEC ever discuss the national challenges?
Absolutely. You see, the reason why we seek leadership is to solve people's problems. If there were no challenges in society, we wouldn't be asking
That's why you have a
leaders.
manifesto.
So when CEC sits, we address all these issues, the human rights violations, violence, all these issues. And then the actions to be taken are implemented through the government structure. CEC does not implement. This one talk about selling milk. CEC doesn't go to sell milk. We set the policy direction. We set the policy direction, and then the relevant government institutions, the executive, the legislature now to force implementation.
Let me read
so
some messages here.
Whatever gains you see in the country, you attribute them to CEC and then the other corresponding state infrastructure.
I think the new slogan should be to save face and legacy, because the basic sectors like security, education, transport and health are still having challenges. This is Sembusi Ivan, okay? Thank you. I am Simon from Peche in Gulu district. Kindly, can we know if those who failed during the primaries elections can stand as independent candidates in the general elections? Secondly, the issue of foreigners doing retail business, e.g. the people from DRC with their own businesses, has become an issue. Moving with vehicles, supplying kitchenware and utensils, that is also an issue. Okay. The economy is characterized by the following: uneven distribution of benefits, limited job creation, poverty persistence, inflation and cost of living, corruption, and weak institutions, limited. Isaac Agaba from Bushenyi, thank you very much. We pay taxes for security. Why do you always use this point? Please stop using the point of security, okay? Someone says, I like what Sarah Rete is saying. Could she be a minister and be able to articulate some of these issues? Okay. Thank you for the program. I think since the NRM chairperson is the president and the district chairperson is an LC5 of the NRM, even the LC3s are there, why don't these people get things done? This is someone from Tungamo who doesn't leave a name. Lastly but not least, thank you. I salute Dr. Rirete for contributing substance. Honorable Mike Mukula needs to get what is happening in the East because it's the poorest and it's shame on the government. The inlets and outlets are just embarrassing, especially from Jinja, moving to Mutukula and onwards to Busia. What a shame to government, yet we travel to Kenya and Tanzania and still have better quality services. Lastly, thank you for the show. Would like to conduct an election. This is Richard from Bolisa. I will not read that message there. Gentlemen and ladies, thank you very much. The Honorable Minister, thank you. Honorable Mike Mukula, thank you very much. Honorable Mara, thank you. Nzere Kaguta Cedric, thank you very much. And Dr. Sarah Berete, thank you for coming. We'll end with this quote. I want to thank the technical team that has made today possible. And also, please continue to support the Uganda Cranes. We're going to play against Senegal on Saturday, so please endeavor to be here on UBC. We'll be showing that match live, courtesy of our Honorable Minister who is here. But we'll end with this quote. People say a lot. Watch what they do. Good morning.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.